Good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome to today's class. We'll be looking at theories of attribution. In our previous class, we discussed impression management, which is the effort to control or influence how others perceive about one. We also talk about the major components of impression. How do we do this? We talk about constructive, we'll talk about encapsulated, we talk about the application to consumers' behavior. That's the study of behavior in one area that is applied to self-monitoring. When you try to monitor your behaviors in order to influence how people perceive or think about you. But today we'll be looking at theories of attribution. Attributions are inference that people make about the causes of events. They are conclusions that people make about certain events, the causes of certain events. People make attributions in order to understand their experiences. Attribution strongly influences the way people interact with others. Oh, I can't attribute myself to this family. One of them is mentally ill. No, they tend to believe that because one of the family members is medically ill, that everybody has a threat of it in their gene. So attributions are what people make about the causes of events and the way they behave, react as a result of the causes of events. Let's look at the process involved in attribution. We have the distinctiveness, we have the consensus, and the consistency. Distinctiveness includes the uniqueness of the response, as in the response of people towards an event. It also refers to stimuli that leads to the same behavior of a person. Now, some people are better able to self-disclose than others. We'll talk about self-discloseness, disclosure in our last class, where an individual is tend to disclose more than what he's supposed to do, that it can influence the way the partner can relate. That before you can disclose deeply about yourself, you should look at the relationship, the extent of the relationship, the deepness of the relationship you have with the other person before you can disclose. But in a situation whereby you are meeting a person for the first time and you are talking more about yourself, the person will look down on you. You understand? So some people are better able to self-disclose than others. This is because disclosure can be threatening. Self-disclosure can leave you vulnerable to rejection, to manipulation, and betrayal. Some individuals are so concerned about this danger of self-disclosure that they have trouble opening up and revealing intimate details about themselves, even in the appropriate content. They worry about the impression they are making on others and readily perceive rejection in others' intention. So these individuals frequently feel lonely and isolated from others and tend to have fewer friends, satisfying relationship with others. With other things we observe just before we behave occurs within our body, and it is easy to take them as a cause of our behavior. Like when some people tend to be more conscious about what they disclose about themselves to others because of the danger in it. It can lead to rejection, it can lead to manipulation and betrayal. So the individual tend to have problem or troubles in opening up or revealing intimate details about themselves. So let's look at methodology or methodological behaviorism. Methodological behaviorism. The mentalistic problem can be avoided by going directly to the physical causes while bypassing immediate feelings or state of mind. That the quickest way to do this is to confine oneself to what an earlier behaviorist, that's Max Mewer, called the psychology of the other one. That is the mentally problem that arises either in self disclosure can also be considered as psychological of the other one. Now, when you consider only those facts which can be objectively observed in the behavior of one person in its relation to its prior environment, that's when the behavior of an individual is influenced by its previous environment or environmental history. If all linkage are lawful, nothing is lost by neglecting a supposed non-physical need. Thus, if we know that a child has not eaten for a long time, and if we now know that he therefore feels hungry, and that because he feels hungry, he has to eat, then we know that if he has not eaten for a long time, he will eat, which is true because the previous experience or environmental history will influence the future. So we make him feel hungry, and if because he feels hungry, he can eat a special food, then it must follow that by making other food inaccessible, we induce him to eat the special food. This is an example of methodological behaviorism that with respect to his own goal, that's methodological behaviorism was successful. It disposed of many of the problems raised by mentalism and freed itself to work on its own project without philosophical digression by directing attention to genetic and environmental antecedents. It offsets an unwarranted concentration on our inner life. Now, what here is explaining, telling us that the extent of what an environment
everyone. I believe they're not hearing your election. I'm trying to fix that now. Just hold on. Please, let's wait for her. She's trying to reconnect.
Sorry for the break in transmission. And what I was discussing earlier on is consensus, consistencies, and methodological behaviorism. Now, I've explained consensus as the extent to which other people's behavior is similar to that of a particular person. That the way an individual behavior is similar to other people's behavior. While consistencies include the extent to which a behavior occurs repeatedly in a particular situation. An example was given here that Jeremy always argues with his parents. Is this high or low consistency? Now, we know that consistency is the extent to which a behavior occurs repeatedly. Definitely is a high consistency because it always repeats itself. That's how Jeremy always argues with his parents. I've talked about the causes of your behavior. It was probably how why do people behave as they do, and how will a person anticipate and hence prepare for what another person will do. Later it will become a practical in another sense. How could another person be induced to behave in a given way? All these are the causes of behavior. Let's look at the causes. Now, our increasing knowledge of the control exerted by the environment makes it possible to examine the effect of the world within the skin and the nature of self-knowledge. Now, here is telling us that the behavior of people can be influenced by the environment, like an environmental history or the society where they find themselves. Now, in a society whereby a fair skinned lady is always preferred to a dark skinned lady, definitely a dark skinned lady or girl will try to bleach because of the pressure exerted on them in their society. So the society has a way of influencing an individual. Okay, let's go to perceiving. Perceiving freed us to sway the behavior of lower species. Now, but problems remained. Most methodological behaviors granted the existence of mental events while ruling them out of consideration. Now, did they really mean to say that? Now, perceiving has to do with the mental behavior of an individual. Oh, did that really happen? Mentally, you are thinking about it, about an event. Now, and to explore similarities and differences between men and other species. Okay. Now, all this did not matter. That the middle stage in that three-stage sequence of physical, mental, physical contributed nothing. In other words, that feelings and state of mind were merely epiphenomenology. It was not the first time that anybody had said so. Now, the view that a purely physical world could be self-sufficient and be suggested centuries before in the doctrine of psychophysical parallelism, which held that there were two worlds, one of mind and one of matter, and that neither had any effect on the other one. Perceiving is how people use their mental skills or mental faculty to think about a particular situation that is bothering them. At times, you tend to fight a battle within your brain. Let's look at radical behaviorism. The statement that behaviorism denied the existence of feelings, sensations, ideas, and other features of mental life needs a good deal of clarification. Methodological behaviorism and some versions of logical positivism ruled private events out of bounds because there could be no public agreement about their validity. Introspection could not be accepted as a scientific practice, and the psychology of people like Edward Woolrich was attacked accordingly. Methodological behaviorism did just the reverse by dealing exclusively with external antecedent events. It turned attention away from self-observation and self-knowledge. Mentalism kept attention away from the external antecedent event which might have explained behavior by seeming to supply an internal or alternative explanation. Now, the way people think, the way people perceive things, the way people picture things in their mind differs from each other, depends on the environment of the person, depend on the environmental history of the person. Someone can easily accept an ordinary person that doesn't have a dime because of the way he was brought up and the environment he was brought up. But another person can decide that it doesn't have anything to do with low class because of the way he was brought up or the environment, how the environment influences him. So all these are what radical behaviorism is talking about. Let's come to advanced public relation. Advanced public relation. Advanced public relation. I explain public relation in an other class. That public relation based on knowledge, experience, and perspective of an individual. Now, this definition will assist you to appreciate and evaluate the role and functions of public relation. And one thing is common to this definition, which is that public relation is undertaken to create and sustain goodwill and harmony among various entities and institutions of society. We've discussed public relation in our previous class. Let's just review it. You can screenshot it because of our time. I'll leave it for 5 seconds. Now, a notable public relations practitioner refers to in one of our earlier definitions summarized most of the public relations definition as good performance that is publicized, publicly appreciated. In other words, that public relation can be seen as doing good and then getting credit for it. He observed that public relation could be expressed as performance and recognition. And when you perform a goodwill, you'll be recognized. That is, good performance is publicized, appreciated. That is publicly appreciated, sorry. That is, public relation consists of all actions taken to promote a favorable relationship with the public of an organization. And from this definition, you note that some key important terms from formulating a good public relation, which is deliberate. A public relation event or action is intentional. Yes, it is also planned. It is a process. These three public relation areas that explains that public relation is always a deliberate act. It is always intentional. It is designed to influence or gain understanding as well as providing information so as to gain a feedback. Now, every politician uses this method. They try to package, create an impression about themselves, try to change the way people feel about themselves in a good way. Now, they publicize, they are there to create a change, they are here to make this and that in the event of gaining favor from the masses, like gaining the vote of the masses. Now, so public relation is always a deliberate act, it's always a planned work, because public relationship or relation activities, they are organized in a systematic sequential way, which is expected to culminate in solution to identify problem. Is there to gain a solution. Now, it's always a process. Effective public relation must be viewed as continuing process of a series of organized action, activities, changes or functions expected to bring about a successful end result. On the other hand, public relation is not a one-time affair. You should note that preventive public relation is a continuous process of discovering problems and opportunity. Let's look at components of public relation. We have the employees relationship relation, the industrial relation, community relation, financial relation, press relation, government relation, special event relation, counseling, research, and so on. All these are public um components of public relation. We have the employees relation. Now, public relation can be seen in relationship between employees and the management. It also can be seen as providing advice to management to improve mutual that's in terms of industrial relation. Community relation, planned activity to create a relationship of good neighboring between an organization and other company, as well as group within the community. All these are components of public relation. Let's look at public relation as a function and philosophy of management. The philosophy of public relation is the creation, building and the maintenance of mutual understanding and respect based on truth and effective way of communication process for the betterment of corporate institution and enhancement of social and economic development. Ogunsoya explained that in observing that public relation is an inalienable lubricant in the wheel of strategic management, it demands from the chief executive, that's the CEO, an open management system, the installation of a responsive information management system. All these are part of components of public relation. You see public relation as management function. Now, public relation is a function of the management because the management has to create a good or an image, a good image for the organization. So for this reason, public relations should be placed at top management level of an organization. The public relation director or manager should be responsible to the chief executive and the board of directors. Now let's look at this assignment. Give two reasons why public relation function should be a management concern. Give two reasons why public relation function should be a management concern. I hope we get the assignment. You send it to Bimsela. You know my email address. You send it there. Let's look at sorry. Okay. Let's look at misconception of public relation. Misconception of public relation. In Nigeria as well in other parts of the world, the profession of public relation has been subjected to wrong perception of what a public relation person actually does. To make better a matter worse, some of the practitioners themselves do not have a clear idea of what public relation is. So the situation has created credibility problems for the profession in general and the practitioners in particular. Now, Daramola and Nwosu have identified some of these misconceptions, which include courtesy. Some people view public relations as consisting of good manners or being polite or respectful to others. But good manners alone does not constitute public relation. Protocol that even institution officials erroneously believe that good public relation is about protocol or the proper procedure of conducting official ceremony. These are the misconception of public relation: courtesy, protocol, goodwill, fine appearance. There are a lot of people believe that assume that public relation is equivalent to a fine appearance, an attractive face or glamorous front. For this reason, such people and institutions maintain a strict dress code or policy. While a good cover is essential, a good book cannot be judged by its cover, which is true. These are some of the misconceptions of public relation. We have the free gift. Public relation is not about employing pretty ladies to woo men into acting against their wives' wishes. Sorry. Public relation is not also about lying and selling falsehood about your organization and product. Public relation is not about being a yes boy or a bad carrier for your boss, madam, or relation. So instead, it is a dignified and noble profession that attracts knowledgeable, confident, intelligent, and self-respecting women and men. So the display of professionalism and ethical conduct by public relation practitioners in their relationship with their organization and the public will go a long way to correct some of these misconceptions. Although a public relation officer has to dress in a fine appearance, has to believe that have a protocol for his for giving out any information about his company. Can't just dish out information without a proper protocol. So all these are the misconception of public relation. Let's look at public relation and marketing. Public relation and marketing are essentially corporate functions, but public relation is not the same as marketing. PR is used both in commercial and non-commercial organizations. Public relation is not a marketing strategy as advertisement is, but public relation is involved in all marketing decisions made by any organization. So public relation is not a marketing strategy as advertisement, but it involves marketing decision made by the organization. So while public relations start from innovation stage of any product, public relation can also be used in marketing of any product since the product of any company is meant for a specific market. So a company next to with a name for excellence in product has got an image to which produce good relating to its line. At the same time, the company will have to consolidate the position of the product in the market by building image for the product. That is, the function of public relation can help to introduce a new product into the market. So public relations are very much needed to stage a good exhibition, press conference, or market survey for the product. So public relation is also necessary in the feedback system of the product. The essence of public relation is to give or create a good image for the company. Now, a company need a public relation to stage a good exhibition, a good press conference, or market survey for their product. Let's look at public relation and advertisement. Public relation and advertisement. We said earlier on that public relation advertisement is not an advertisement. So while advertisement make the product known, a public relation build an image for the product. So public relation can be used in promoting the product. Nobody will buy a bad product twice. So let's look at public relation and corporate promotion. Now, every corporate organization will need the service of a public relation. The department will probably need corporate institutional or advertisement research to help it plan a marketing strategy for the organization. So corporate promotion therefore provide a base for public relations department to draw its research material. So corporate promotion is a joint work of everybody in all departments. We have public relations and journalism. Now, the practitioner of public relations enter the professional through journalism. But being a journalist does not necessarily make you a good practitioner of public relations because there are two things. The journalistic instinct must therefore equally exist in the public relations practitioner. Let's look at public relation and propaganda. Now, when public relation is misused, people equate it with propaganda. One of the most common misconceptions is to think that public relation means propaganda. Now, the manipulation of people mind by shady character. So, public relation and propaganda are widely different. While PR objective is to achieve consent through dialogue, complete openness, and the rest. Let's look at qualities of a PR practitioner. That's the public relation practitioner. One, public relation involves the projection and management of image of an entity. So it therefore follows that to be effective, a PR practitioner should possess certain knowledge and qualities. Now, these are the first and foremost should be a theoretical as well as practical understanding of communication. It should be very good in communicating. A PR must know how to write well. A public relation must have a strong, active, ethical, and moral code. Must have good knowledge of attitude and behavior. In summary, the network that public relations is linked to is wide and diverse. So from marketing to advertisement to journalism, public relations plays an important part in the successful working of these areas of co-marketing communication. We are going to end the class here. It's nice having you. Um, don't forget the assignment, which is give two reasons why public relation function should be a management concern. Give two reasons why public relations function should be a management concern. Thank you for your time. I wish you good luck in your exam. Bye.